All right, up next is Anita Christian. She is not a fan of fundraising walks, and if you saw her collection of high heel shoes, you would know why. Simply asking for money donations to a good cause seems more straightforward to her. The exception is the crop hunger walks. We're going to find out what keeps her involved with the hunger walk year after year.
Well, as Bob said, I really don't get into fundraising walks all that much. It's not the high heels. It's just I don't see the point. So if you want to raise money for a worthy cause, you can ask people for money. I don't think they care if you go on a walk or if you do a jump rope-a-thon or a rocking chair-a-thon. The Crop Hunger Walk, however, is a walk for a very specific reason. It started 50 years ago because there are people in this world who have to walk miles every day for every drop of water that they use. And so when I went on my first crop hunger walk in the late 80s, the walk was a little over 6 miles long. And the reason it was that long is there are people in this world who had to walk more than 6 miles for every drop of drinking water they used. I was a student at McPherson College at the time, and the walk took up most of a Sunday afternoon. Well, you might wonder what CROP stands for. Christian Rural Overseas Program, I could say. 70 years ago, there were 17 different denominations who came together and formed Church World Service, and they believed in a world where everybody has enough, and they were trying to make that happen. And so crop walks were born, but crop has kind of outgrown its name. It's a great acronym. It conjures up images of feeding the hungry worldwide, helping people maybe to be able to grow their own crops and feed themselves and their families. Part of that happens because of access to water. So 30 years ago, when I participated in crop walks, it was all about water. How far do people have to walk for water? Do folks have access to uncontaminated water that won't make them sick? How can we work with people to find solutions? Nowadays, crop hunger walks aren't just about water access, although that is still important. Crop hunger walks also help make it possible for people to develop sustainable methods of providing enough food for themselves and their families. This lady works in a greenhouse in Guatemala, and she and her coworkers and their families eat most of what they produce, but they sell enough so that they can buy seed for the following year. So water, sustainable food, nutrition, those are all important, and so are hygiene and sanitation. And crop works towards all of those. And if women and girls aren't spending all their waking hours fetching water, then maybe the girls can go to school. Now, fun fact, crop hunger walks nationwide have been getting shorter. That may be because we just don't want to give that much of our Sunday afternoons. It's also that worldwide access to water has improved. 2 years ago, we gave Reno County crop hunger walkers the option of carrying gallon jugs of water with them. A gallon of water weighs about 8 pounds, so if you carry that for 3 or 4 miles, that's still kind of a long way to carry even a little bit of water, let alone all of the water that you might need. That's the 2017 group of walkers, 34 walkers, 4 different area churches. Now, some of you might be saying, wait a minute, I didn't know that Reno County had a crop hunger walk. Well, you're not alone. We do have a crop hunger walk. However, we don't have a very good publicity person on the planning committee. So if you know of a way to change that, let me know. I've been co-chairing the planning committee for the last 3 years, and the biggest thing for me is just finding time and ways to get the word out. And if a church or a nonprofit organization or if your workplace wants to put a team together, or if you as an individual want to walk, that's very possible. You can do that, but you have to know it's going to happen. So I'm going to tell you now, while you're here, the walk is usually the first or second week, Sunday afternoon in October, although this year it might be the last Sunday afternoon in September. Now, generally, we've had pretty good weather for our crop walks. 2017 was windy, but it was beautiful. 2018, not so much. We had a hot chocolate station instead of a water station. But we had 20 people who actually walked it. We had more who raised money but didn't walk. And 2018 was the first year since I've been coordinating the crop walk that we actually met our monetary goal. We raised over $3,000, and I don't know if that's because people saw the weather forecast and they decided they'd rather donate. And I should mention that 25% of the money that we raise stays right here in Reno County. So as a result of this year's walk, the Reno County Food Bank and Christian Soup Ministries each receive close to $400. There's a lot of need in this world, and sometimes it's hard to know how to address that need. And I don't like fundraising, but it does help to know that I'm not alone. Other people locally and nationally are walking with me, and together we do make an impact. I have to agree with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he said, "I have the audacity to believe that peoples everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, and dignity, equality, and freedom for their spirits." I want to help make that happen. So this fall, once again, I'll be getting out my walking shoes, and you're welcome to join me, either in the planning ahead of time, or as a walker, or as a sponsor. If you don't know where to find me, I bet Carrie could tell you where. I can also be found at Bluebird Books many days a week. And every little bit that we do makes a difference in somebody's lives, actually in multiple people's lives, and it makes a difference in our own lives as well. Thank you.